Satan. Karen, what do you think?
I think the president is definitely Satan, and I love it.
South Park is absolutely taking no prisoners this new season, and it's amazing. So, just recently, South Park aired the latest episode of their current season, season 27, on Comedy Central. South Park has pretty much been consistently making headlines with every new episode here in this season, and it's because they have a very clear goal in mind with this season. And of course, that goal is to ridicule the Trump administration as much as possible and get them riled up, which so far has very much worked. They've managed to get a response out of both the official White House Twitter account and Kristi Noem, so I think that already says a lot, and Matt and Trey are very clearly achieving what they want with this season overall. You two legends, you. The first episode started off with a bang, with them making fun of Trump for suing anyone and anything that criticizes him, and also making fun of Paramount for bending the knee to him. The second episode continued the satirization of the Trump administration even more, with them making fun of JD Vance, ICE, and especially Kristi Noem. And of course, Charlie Kirk got caught in the crossfire as well, being the great master debater he is.
I'm sorry, Mom. You told me to go to sleep, but I started master debating again.
The third episode made fun of tech companies for bending the knee to Trump and doing whatever he wants and always kissing up to him, and also made fun of AI and ChatGPT in the process. Man, South Park always knows how to keep it topical. So after all that, it was kind of a mystery as to what this fourth episode of South Park's new season would be. But like clockwork, the day before this episode aired, South Park actually dropped a small teaser on their YouTube channel that showed two girls at South Park Elementary fighting over a Lububus doll. And at the same time, this teaser showed Trump getting back from an overseas meeting with Satan, where he was talking about tariffs apparently. Which this, combined with the Lububus thing, which we'll get into later for sure, showed pretty clearly that this episode was gonna be all about tariffs. And sure enough, not only was this a great satire on tariffs, it was also a great satire on Trump himself and how he handles this. This season in particular has really been going after Trump since Matt and Trey want Trump to get fed up with it and finally sue Paramount. As far back as the first episode of this season, this has been their entire thing since they want Paramount to get sued as revenge for screwing them over so many times for their new season. And also the fact they got screwed over when it came to the Skydance merger with Paramount as well. This episode, just like all the others before it, did this masterfully, and there's a lot to dive into here. So come on down to South Park and meet some friends of mine and let's discuss episode 4 of the newest season of South Park and why it's amazing. The episode starts off at South Park Elementary with two girls showing off their new Lububus to each other. They seem pretty enthusiastic discussing these dolls with each other, but Cartman just so happens to be nearby and catches wind of their conversation. Seeing that the two girls are discussing their dolls together, he seems to sense that something is gonna go down and gets all the boys to gather around and watch.
If anyone's fake, it's probably yours, you fat bitch. Suck it, skank. Stupid.
And sure enough, it unfortunately seems that Cartman was right here, since it doesn't take too long at all for these girls to start completely beating each other up. Jesus, it feels like the Cabbage Patch dolls all over again. Because of this, the girls are sent to the counselor's office, which in this case, their new counselor is Jesus, since as you may recall in a previous episode, the original school counselor, Mr. Mackey, was actually fired and then worked for ICE for a bit before quitting there as well. It's kind of unknown what's really happening to him currently, so I'm not sure if Jesus is just gonna be the school counselor for the show going forward or not. I guess we'll have to see. They already shook up the current status quo of the show in the previous episode with Randy finally shutting down Integrity Farms, so I guess we'll see if they pull Integrity Farms with Jesus being the school counselor in the show for a bit or not. Unfortunately, his attempts to calm the girls down don't really seem to be working at all, so finally, Jesus poses the all-important question here.
I'm sorry, what is a Lububu?
So for those unaware, Lububu is actually a series of toys that originated from an artist in Hong Kong that gained a lot of popularity this summer in particular. The dolls have actually existed for about a decade now, but they didn't take off until, of course, a member of the K-pop group Blackpink was caught with one. And of course, following this, Lububu dolls exploded all over TikTok with tons of people collecting them and showing them off. And also a lot of people trying to call out bootleg Lububus as well. Funny enough, the company that makes Lububu started taking notice of this and started packaging all their dolls with a certification of authenticity, which I find really funny.
Are being if you guys are getting your orders through our thousand right here, you are going to be getting your very own kind of like grading card. So this is actually going to be a collection card. You're able to actually see a metallic paint covered on the Space Mollies right here. We're also going to be having our codes that you can actually scan, and they are going to be telling you whether we're going to be authentic or not. It's pretty much when you guys are checking in a 5-star or luxury hotel that when you guys are getting this kind of like a grading card as well.
Jesus Christ. Christ, I can't believe they're comparing a doll to a 5-star hotel here. This is such a wild thing to me because, for me myself, I actually didn't know much about Labubu until, of course, this summer when they all started exploding. And even then, when I saw it was going to be the subject of this episode, I didn't know too much about it, so I had to do a bit of digging myself to get the full scoop on it. But as you can probably imagine, yeah, these things are everywhere, and they are incredibly popular as well. Obviously, really specific toy crazes like this have existed before anyway, like with the aforementioned Cabbage Patch dolls or even Beanie Babies before. But with the added leverage of a platform like TikTok and the giant boost of something like K-pop on its side, Lububus have honestly seen an even bigger push to popularity than Cabbage Patch dolls or Beanie Babies ever had. With the way the current social media landscape and online market is set up, it really allowed these things to take off more than anything else before them. And we can really see that it's caused a lot of strife between various girls here, just like the Cabbage Patch dolls did before them, but arguably even worse. Jesus is still rather confused on what the Lububus really are to these girls, so he ends up just taking them and holding them till the end of the day, much to the girls' disdain.
I don't know, Jesus sucks, dude. Our old counselor was so much better.
Man, don't do Jesus like that. He was just trying to keep you away from the equivalent of the new Cabbage Patch doll. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, Butters is out on the playground when he's suddenly approached by Red, much to his surprise. It seems that, surprisingly, Red wants Butters to attend her birthday party so they can hang out together. Butters, while uncertain why he of all people was picked to come to her birthday party, happily obliges since he's glad to get some quality time with a nice girl. However, not long after this, it becomes very clear why Red wants Butters at her birthday party exactly, since she sends him her birthday wish list, which inevitably only has one item on it, and of course that would be a Labubu. Who could have guessed?
Oh no. Anyway.
While to anyone else, it might come off as obvious manipulation here just to get what she wants, of course Butters has a very Butters reaction to all of this.
Holy sh**, you guys, you know what I think? I think on Saturday I'm gonna find out if red-haired girls have a red bush.
Man, Butters really is one of the best characters on this show, easily. So with this new mission in mind, Butters goes straight to City Walk to try and pick up this Labubu for his new girlfriend. However, upon arriving, he finds out that City Walk apparently isn't City Walk anymore for some reason.
Wait, didn't this place used to be City Walk?
Yeah, but our whole country changed. Didn't you hear the news? Walkie's dead.
So it seems Luke Kim here, much like PC Principal and Clyde and all the tech devs before him, has sort of figured out where things are going culturally and decided to rename his shop from City Walk to City Pop-Up, since in his words, Walk is dead. Absolutely incredible. He's also decided to capitalize on a lot of the viral online trends surrounding Asian memorabilia, including Lububus. And inevitably, he's also looking to capitalize on the introduction of tariffs that are placed on Asian goods that are shipped to the US.
Okay, how much is a mystery box?
$85.
85?
Yeah, you gotta pay tariff. You think I pay tariff? No, you pay tariff.
He tells the Butters that even just one Labubu mystery box will set him back $85. Good gosh. But as Luke Kim says here, he's not the one who's gonna pay the tariff, Butters is. This is of course satirizing how a lot of this stuff is taxed out the wazoo now, especially when it comes to Asian goods that are imported to the United States. A lot of big anime conventions, and especially the vendors that attend them, have expressed their frustrations with the amount of tariffs that are placed on the things that they import to sell. Recently at Anime NYC even, a Texas-based retailer named GM Anime mentioned that they've had to increase their prices by 10% now just to keep up with the tariffs. Heck, even when I was at Anime Expo this past July, I recall a lot of the vendors there also expressing a lot of the same frustrations. And while this has yet to be confirmed, there has been a growing concern that a lot of anime films will now also be taxed a lot because of the tariffs going over foreign Hollywood. Especially when it comes to the Asian market and the import of goods to the US from that, it seems there's a lot of growing concerns for that overall, so this episode is very topical in how it tackles that. Butters, however, decides to just fork over the $85 since he really wants to get this Labubu for his new girlfriend, but unfortunately the mystery box doesn't have the one she wants in it. So now he has to go get another $85 to try and get another mystery box to see if the Labubu that he really wants for his girlfriend is actually inside of it. Wow, you're really playing the game here, Luke Kim. Luke Kim then compares Butters having to pay the tariff instead of him to a game of hot potato, which I find really funny.
I have to pay another $85 and I still might not get the one I want?
It's your government. I don't give by tariff, you give by tariff. In China, we call that hot potato.
He really is just passing it along to someone else here, which is kind of amazing. While Butters is struggling to get the right doll for his girlfriend, however, it seems that Trump and Satan have just returned from an overseas trip discussing tariffs. Just as they're getting off their plane, Fox News just so happens to arrive to try and interview them. And they have some rather interesting questions for both Trump and Satan here.
Mr. President, we're all dying to know something. Are you Satan?
No, I'm not Satan.
We're just sort of hanging out.
He is Satan.
That guy's definitely Satan. What a stud.
Yeah, Fox News.
Okay, this is amazing for a few reasons here. First off, South Park is obviously making fun of the fact that Trump is often compared to Satan himself, and they're having a bit of fun wordplay with that here. But I think the thing that I really love about this is just how accurately they portray Fox News here. They're just so gleeful about the possibility that Trump might be effing Satan of all things. And of course, once they convince themselves that he actually is, they automatically pat themselves on the back and cheer. This honestly feels less like a satire and more like a depiction of how they actually operate. It's kind of amazing. Especially when you've got a real channel like Fox News of all things complaining about Superman and how it's an immigration story and woke propaganda.
I can't believe that we've come down to that, and I don't know. We don't go to the movie theater to be lectured to and to have somebody throw their ideology onto us. I wonder if it'll be successful.
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity.
Yes, this was somehow a real occurrence. Sometimes fiction does mirror reality. Meanwhile, back at the school, Jesus is attempting to try to get to the bottom of what exactly the Lububus dolls are and is holding a meeting at the school with the teachers. They end up showing him a TikTok that one of the girls at South Park Elementary made on the Lububus doll, which is very interesting to say the least.
Okay, let's start the ritual. La boo boo, la boo boo, la boo, la boo.
What the hell was that? That's a Lububu unboxing TikTok.
In this TikTok, the girl ends up unboxing a Lububus doll, but then does something rather unexpected with it. So it seems the Lububus dolls are actually being used in demonic seances to try to summon demons from hell. Only South Park could come up with something this insane for a simple doll. However, it does seem there's actually quite a bit of basis as to why the Lububus dolls are being depicted as demonic entities here. Sometime this summer, around the same time the Lububus dolls really started blowing up, there was a rumor going around saying that Lububus dolls were actually demonic entities, believe it or not. This was started through a series of claims from different religious parents whose kids, of course, were buying a lot of Lububus. However, it just so happened that the parents found out that the dolls their kids were buying seemed to resemble an ancient demon from Mesopotamia called Pazuzu. And because of the fact that Lububus seemingly resembled an ancient demon from Mesopotamia of all things, the parents decided to denounce the dolls and try to get them banned. No, I am not making this up, although if you're familiar at all with these kinds of people, you're probably not surprised. These are the same kinds of people that would try to ban Pokemon and Disney back in the 90s. Nice to see nothing's changed now today though. So, of course, South Park is directly riffing on this, showing the Lububus doll as something incredibly demonic that these girls are literally performing blood rituals to. And yet, despite the fact that they all know this, the teachers don't seem surprised at all or even concerned whatsoever. It seems Jesus is the only one who's worried for the safety of the kids at the school, which is funny, but also kinda sad. Meanwhile, Butters has returned to Asian pop-up store to try and buy the Lububus for his girlfriend. However, it seems that now the price has gone from $85 to $120 for a mystery box. According to Lou Kim, the tariffs went up in price and the amount of time it took Butters to walk to his house to grab his piggy bank and then back to the store. Huh, I wonder how that happened. But fortunately, it seems Lou Kim has a solution here for good old Butters, to make him do the claw machine instead and try to get the mystery box out of there. Ah yes, cause clearly that's the most efficient, cheap, and quick method of getting the thing he wants here. Nice try, Lou Kim. Unfortunately, it does seem Butters falls for this since he ends up sinking a ton of money into the claw machine. Meanwhile, while Butters is trying to acquire a demonic entity for his girlfriend, Fox News is concerned with something clearly more important than that. And of course, that means they're still obsessing over the question whether or not Trump is effing Satan. And as it turns out, they've actually brought on a body language expert to try and help them deduce this question for themselves.
Well, if Mr. President Trump is Satan, and I'm not saying if he is or he isn't, I'm just kind of hoping he is, He mostly likely is coming in from the back. Now, Satan has a pretty large physical presence, so we're pretty sure President Trump would have to get on top of him.
This is very clearly satirizing the moment that happened just a few weeks ago actually, where Trump had a handshake with Putin. This is during his time in Russia, but interestingly enough, not long after this was caught on film, a lot of body language experts started trying to decipher what this handshake meant for some reason. You would actually see a number of videos trying to break down the handshake and how it showed Trump's massive power over Putin. No, I am not making this up. Of course, something as wild as this happening was something that South Park was gonna make fun of. And of course, that is exactly what they ended up doing here. However, instead of body language experts trying to break down a handshake between Trump and Putin, they're instead trying to break down body language between Trump and Satan and determine whether they have a sexual relationship or not. The comparison here is absolutely fantastic. Of course, Fox News being Fox News, they're also taking every moment they can to glaze Trump wherever possible. They're depicted here as a bunch of egotistical talking heads who are prancing around and can't seem to stop talking about Trump. Sometimes fiction is really just the same as reality. Rather than talking about the tariffs, which seem to be on everyone else's mind, and in fact they do lead into their conversation by bringing up tariffs at first, they seem a lot more comfortable just glazing Trump and trying to determine whether he's effing Satan or not, which is genuinely hilarious. I also love how insane they portray this body language counselor to be, with him literally getting up on another newscaster's back. While Fox News is going nuts over this, Jesus just so happens to arrive at the Asian pop-up store finally to try and get to the bottom of Lububus. He demands answers from Liu Kim, who immediately deflects and tries to talk about the tariffs instead.
Those dolls you're selling are cursed. Yeah, no shit. Curse. It's called tariff. You pass it along. I the curse. I put the curse on you. It's like an AIDS.
Well, he's definitely not wrong about that. Tariffs definitely are a curse for sure. Ask any anime convention. However, it seems that Butters has now finally won Lububu that his girlfriend wants from the claw machine. Jesus tries to warn him that it's actually a demonic entity, but unfortunately Butters has already left to go to his girlfriend's house to drop it off at her party. Whoops. Butters arrives with the Lububu doll in hand, to which Red is incredibly excited and tells him they should go upstairs so they can do it together. Butters, of course, is incredibly nervous as to what do it implies, but he decides to go anyway. Unfortunately, it looks like Red has decided to perform the demonic seance that we saw done before in the TikTok video. She and all the other girls at the party join in chanting around the circle, and soon the Lububu turns into a grotesque creature that summons a dark cloud over South Park. It seems the girls' actual intention is to bring demonic forces into Red's bedroom. And it seems they get their wish, but not quite in the way they think. That's right, it looks like performing the seance with the Lububu has just brought Trump and Satan to the girl's bedroom instead. Which, I guess all things considered, they did get their wish then. They end up running away screaming from the house, which of course attracts the attention of Fox News, who wants to catch another Trump and Satan sighting. Wow, they really can't let it go, can they? Just then, Jesus finally shows up at the scene and confronts Satan, and it looks like a big battle is about to start here. Jesus demands answers from Satan about what's really going on here, and finally Satan does relent. Satan explains that if he had the choice, he actually would have left Trump a long time ago, but he can't because he's bound to him. And after giving Jesus a creepy looking box for him to open, it becomes very clear why Satan is actually bound to Trump. Satan is pregnant with Trump's butt baby.
What? What the fuck?
Yes, it seems all that time Trump and Satan spending in bed together actually caused Satan to get pregnant. Oh man. And not just any kind of pregnant through his butt. Everyone is incredibly shocked at this, and none other more so than Fox News, who is incredibly ecstatic about Trump now having a kid with Satan. Because, of course, this now proves their theory that Trump was effing Satan. Absolutely incredible. They even have a scientist come in on Fox News and try to break down the legitness of a demonic pregnancy, which is pretty fantastic. And then after this huge victory, because it turned out Trump was effing Satan the whole time, Fox News decides to turn to Kid Rock out of nowhere. And naturally, he's sitting there in his home crying so emotional because Trump turned out to be effing Satan the whole time.
Kid, you must be overcome with emotion.
I just honestly didn't think the president was Satan, but now knowing that he has been this whole time, I'm just so happy.
This, of course, is a direct jab at the fact that Kid Rock has pretty much been a Trump glazer since day one. And inevitably, he's said some pretty stupid things while trying to suck up to the president, to nobody's surprise at all. He even teamed up with the president at one point to try to stop scalping of ticket prices, because clearly that's the most important thing going on right now. But interestingly enough, I think the reason why Kid Rock was brought up in this episode actually has to do with the movie project that Matt and Trey are working on currently on the side with South Park. For those unaware, Matt and Trey have actually been working on a movie with Paramount that involves Kendrick Lamar and is set to release next year. This is actually something they've been working on for quite a while now and initially started development back in 2020 or so. Not much is actually known about this collaboration with Kendrick Lamar aside from the fact that it's supposed to center on a young black man who is interning as a slave reenactor at a living history museum. The film was supposed to come out next year in March, so I guess we'll see if we get any new details between now and then. Personally, I'm very excited for this project as both a fan of Trey and Matt and Kendrick Lamar, so I'm very curious to see where this goes. And this actually isn't even the first collaboration between these three, since Trey and Matt actually helped Kendrick out with this The Heart Part 5 music video. They actually developed and provided the deepfake technology used in that music video, the same deepfake technology they used on the Trump PSA in the first episode of this season. But interestingly enough, it seems around the same time they were developing this new project with Kendrick, Kid Rock just so happened to speak out against Kendrick. Earlier this year, around the time that Kendrick was performing at the Super Bowl, Kid Rock actually blasted this performance, calling it a woke DEI hire, and trying to make the claim that the performance was just DEI for black hood people. No, I am not making this up. Kid Rock really is just a walking cartoon, isn't he? So given the timing of this and the other things that Kid Rock has done throughout this year, and the fact that Matt and Trey are probably still in constant contact with Kendrick due to the fact they're making a movie together, while there is obviously no confirmation of this, I think it is pretty fair to assume that this might have been done in retaliation to what Kid Rock said about Kendrick. And let's face it, Kid Rock is generally pretty easy to make fun of anyway. After all the dust settles here, Jesus decides to have a chat with both Butters and Red and tells them that both Lububus, TikToks, and cell phones are all banned from the school now. Butters and Red are obviously very upset at this, but Red does acknowledge that Jesus was actually a better counselor than their last one, which makes Jesus smile.
Wow, new counselor's kind of a dick. Yeah, but he's better than the last guy.
And that's it. Honestly, this was a really good episode in my opinion. This entire season has been really strong overall, and I think all these episodes are pretty even quality. This episode had a really good satirization of tariffs, which especially now is a very relevant thing, I'd say, especially when it comes to Asian goods, which this episode tackled directly. It also did touch on online trends becoming someone's entire reason for being and getting addicted to that, although in a very South Park way with the satanic element, of course. Although the nature of online trends and getting addicted to that obviously is a very real thing, and I am glad South Park did touch on that. Although I think the real star of this episode was the entire thing with Fox News. It was just incredible. The fact that you can barely tell the difference between this version of Fox News and the actual Fox News, I think says a lot. They're obviously a very easy thing to make fun of anyway, but this is still really funny regardless. I kinda wonder what the fallout of this will be, if Fox News will actually respond to this episode or not. Given the fact that the White House responded to the very first episode of the season and Kristi Noem responded to the second, I don't think it's out of the question that they probably will. I'm also curious to see if Jesus will remain the counselor of the school throughout this entire season and possibly more seasons to come now. South Park hasn't been afraid to change up the status quo and roles of mainstay characters before for a bit, as we've seen. Like they did before with Randy, where he was in charge of Tegrity Farms for about 7 years, and also with Cartman, where he was stuck in a hot dog for a long time too. I guess it remains to be seen whether Mr. Mackey will actually come back and become the school's counselor again or not. It seems general reception of this episode has actually been really positive so far, since it already has a 7.8 on IMDb. And of course, as this season has progressed, we've seen more anti-woke grifters try to call this season just Trump derangement syndrome, which is quite funny to me.
South Park has said, hey, we have a historic $1.5 billion deal, whatever it was, multi-billion dollar deal. We have one of the most anticipated season of all time for South Park. We have more global reach than we've ever had before. Let's put out some classics. Name one that came out in the last 5 years. Name one that's going to stand the test of time. We're in the 27th season. We're on episode 4, and the first 3 episodes have been nonstop Trump derangement syndrome.
I've been thinking about the new episodes of South Park and the reaction to them, because the left demands that you acknowledge that the right wing is a bunch of snowflakes and they're a bunch of crybabies, which is hilarious considering this is the party of microaggressions and, oh, you can't say that, that's offensive. And, you know, these fat, disgusting, degenerate, bottom-feeding, brain-dead, subhuman piles of shit, they just want the catharsis of feeling good. So when South Park is railing against Trump and making fun of him, they're like, oh, South Park's great. But these are the people that have been raging against South Park for years. Now, I've been wondering, why is this season, why does it feel so lost? Why does it feel so shit? And I think that the reason is because it has exposed the lie that South Park goes after everyone.
Ah, yes, because clearly Matt and Trey were able to sign a $1.5 billion deal because their ratings were clearly tanking. Yeah, sure, whatever you say, buddy. I also find it funny that these guys will often try to claim that Paramount was the one that made Matt and Trey go after Trump, when really, no. If you know any of the background of this, that was not the case at all. If anything, the last thing Paramount wants right now is any more ire from Trump, and that's actually exactly why Matt and Trey have been going down this path for this new season. They are incredibly tired of how Paramount screwed them over for the majority of their last season, and also during the lawsuit with them and Warner Brothers. So after seeing how Paramount almost completely went under Trump due to the fact of what happened on 60 Minutes with the Kamala interview, and also how Stephen Colbert was completely fired from his late night talk show on CBS altogether, Matt and Trey have seen an easy way to bait Trump and get him mad at Paramount and thus get their revenge on both parties. And even if this does result in the cancellation of their show, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because they made $1.5 billion off of making 10 episodes a year. Given the fact they can make episodes in about 6 days if they really want to, this is basically the deal of a lifetime. I'm very, very curious to see what they do for the next episode, and I was very happy with how this episode turned out. But what do you think? Am I wrong? Was this episode terrible? Or did you enjoy it? Are you excited for the next episode as well? And what do you think I should cover here on YouTube in the future? Let me know in the comments below. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed this video or learned something new from it. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a like and also consider subscribing as well. I do lots of videos like this covering film and animation overall, so if you enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy the others I have planned as well. If you'd like to chat with other like-minded film and animation fans, consider joining my Discord. If you'd like to see the movies and shows that I'm checking out on my own time, check out my Letterboxd link down below. You can also follow me on all the socials like Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, all those are linked down below as well. Special thanks to my paid patrons and YouTube members, that being DDC1996, Trayvon Gibson, Sasha Blasik, Geothermal Penguin, Eliza Feller, Sparky Fluffles, MNBY123, You the Guardian, David Deister, Jared the Rabbit, and Balve Games for supporting me that way as well. I appreciate you guys pitching in with the extra monetary effort to keep me doing what I do here. And I appreciate you for coming to the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it or learned something new from it. But for now, I've been Otterly Noah, and I'll see you on the other side. Bye!